This segment is sponsored by Trey Harrell Law. It's time for Trey Helps with our good friend, attorney Trey Harrell. Welcome back to the show, sir. Always looking good, my friend.
Yeah, trying.
And everything going well with you?
Everything's going well, you know. Gotta keep the hair cut short so my wife thinks I'm good looking still. At least that's in my mind. That's what I think. But anyway, neither here nor there.
It's all good. Let's talk about the most important thing to do following a car accident. We've talked about this before, but I think we need to reiterate exactly what you really need to do.
Yeah, I think the most important thing following an auto accident in the Lowcountry or wherever is making sure you're okay, right? There's so much stuff that says out there that make sure you snap a picture, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And I think the most important thing that needs to be done is just kind of make sure you're okay. Make sure there's not anything lingering. Little self-check, right? And then look around you. Make sure everybody else is okay.
Sure.
And then once that's occurred, then pull out your phone, start taking pictures, start documenting the scene, getting witnesses' names, making sure if you're a passenger that you're on the police report. You know, all of those kind of little things that you should do. But first things first, make sure you're okay and make sure everybody else is okay. Because you got to do what you got to do because you don't want somebody to have some kind of long-term issue or injury that if they had just gone and gotten checked out, they'd be fine.
Yeah. Do you see sometimes people, when people get in a traffic accident, it's a nice fender bender, people are really not hurt that bad, maybe just a little bruise or something, that they exchange and maybe take photographs or information of each other's driver's license?
They do. We see that, and they do insurance cards, right?
Sure.
But I always think that if there's any kind of significant damage or you have any kind of aches and pains, maybe not even less than significant damage, any damage to your vehicle or any injury that you have, you need to make sure you take a picture of it and get it and call law enforcement. Get law enforcement in so they can make a report, even if it's nothing, because when you call your insurance company to report it, it still is something against your insurance.
Sure.
So you might as well have everything you need to have done so you can make sure to take care of yourself.
And we've talked about it time and time again, documentation. Documentation.
It's the key.
Yeah, it's so very important. How long does it typically take to resolve a car accident case? And I'm sure it can vary.
It varies. It varies. Yeah. And people don't normally like the answer when you give it to them that it depends. What matters is getting yourself back to where you need to be. Your case is going to take as long as it needs to take because we've got to get you better, we've got to get your car better, and we've got to make sure that there's nothing long-term going on so that you can move on with your life. And this is just that, hey, remember that time I was in an auto accident? Scenario, not it deals with it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and sometimes when you get in that automobile accident and you got a little neck hurt and all that, so well, you know, sometimes I wake up in the morning, my neck hurts. Go get the thing checked because that may be something that gets worse as time goes, and it might not get bad or worse for 10 to 15, 20 years.
I mean, you should always get checked out when that kind of scenario because you always want to make sure that as you age and we get arthritis, and you know, I'm getting older, so I feel it. You know, you want to make sure that those aches and pains are me getting older aches and pains, not a long-term injury.
Right. You know, a lot of times people will go to court on different things, and they need to go to arbitration. Do you see that happen, or do you usually get with your client and then the insurance company, and then you sit down and you hack it out right there, or do you have sometimes an arbitrator?
A lot of times, once we file litigation, we don't do a lot in arbitration. That's fair. That handles a lot with property damage. More so, we deal with mediations. And that scenario. And in the state of South Carolina, you're actually required to mediate before you can have a trial. So, which is a great thing that we do here. It forces the two lawyers or the insurance company or the parties to the table. Let's talk it out so we don't waste the court's time. And a lot of times you can get it resolved. We have a very good success rate getting cases resolved at mediation. And, you know, all cases are different, but we have a very good success rate with getting cases resolved, and we're very happy about that.
Yeah, because a lot of times if it goes to trial, it can extend for quite a period of time.
It extends, and there's stress that's added on to somebody that might not necessarily be there. And so it's just very important that we do the things that we do to try to ease the process, and mediation is one of those tools.
What happens if the other driver denies fault in the accident?
This happens more than you think. Even if it's listed on the police report, a at-fault driver will tell their insurance company, it's not my fault. And so the insurance company takes their word, because that's their client, but also it's a way to drag out the process and make it more difficult, so people just want to get it done. But it's very funny how when that occurs, we can gather simple evidence, put it together in a letter, get it to the insurance company, and they change their tune really quickly.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of times people, whenever they do get into an automobile accident, there's a lot of nerves that are being hit really hard.
Yeah.
And people want to come to you, and you can sit down and settle down with them and relax them. And you know, they'll make a phone call, they'll come in, and you see that quite often.
Very much so.
And how do you normally handle
well,
that?
Well, we take the approach. Most of our clients have never been in an auto accident and never been in any situation, and most of them have never dealt with a lawyer before. So there's all kinds of nerves and all kinds of stress that's kind of wrapped up in that scenario. So we try to take the time to talk through the process, because it goes back to that authentic and approachable thing that I say that you need when you find that lawyer, because we want to be authentic to make sure we can ease the person's mind, but we also want to be approachable so that the person is comfortable and feels comfortable asking those questions, so we can do that.
A little bedside manner, just like a doctor's has. Our last question for the day: how can drivers protect themselves before an accident happens?
Oh yeah, look, it's very simple, from seat belts, right, that basic stuff, to more importantly, before an accident happens, make sure you have underinsured motorist coverage, because most people are driving around with minimum limits, and a lot of the cars today with the technology, it's more than that minimum limits policy. So the legislature probably needs to raise those limits, but we got to work ourselves around so that you can make sure you're protected with that. And
something we've talked about, we got about 20 seconds left. If you're in a state outside of the state of South Carolina and you get in an accident, you can still give you a call and say, Trey, this is where I am. Can you help me out? And you can contact some of those.
You can give us a call. Go follow us at Trey Helps on social media, and we'll get that info to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great rest of your day. We hope to see you soon. The View starts next.